Wait a sec. We're doing a talk to camera video? When was the last time I did one of these? Feels like a while ago. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Just Another World. I'm Griffin, and last weekend I had the best time of my life at RTX Austin 2019. It was my very first convention, and let's be honest, it's me. I don't go anywhere without making a video, so of course this was going to be a video at some point. I didn't fully know how I was going to make this video when I went down to RTX, and I kind of haphazardly threw together a plan on the flight down. Turns out I wasn't great with planning. I was really busy beforehand, so this is kind of what culminated. It was actually something I've been wanting to do for a while. I've been wanting to do more sit and talking to the camera videos, so why not start now? We're going to break this video up into a few portions just because it's a little bit easier for me that way. First off, we're going to talk about travel because I have a hilarious travel story to tell. We're going to talk about the actual panels and kind of the stuff in the actual convention center itself. And then, of course, we're going to kind of just wrap it up with highlights and some cool shenanigans that I got up to. And, of course, just community stuff. Because the community was so good and so awesome and great human beings. So let's go ahead and get this started and let the good times roll. Alright, so I have to talk about this flight down because this was probably like one of the single most Griffin travel stories possible. And I could finally talk about an airplane and complain like the RT podcast behind me. So I had a flight that was boarding at 4:25, which was frankly what I considered a little excessive because this flight didn't leave till 5:05. I might have had the time from there. Anyways, I knew that I could not get up, drive from Corvallis to Portland that late/early, depending on when you wake up. So I went up the night before, and I decided, you know what, I'll just sleep in the airport parking lot, sleep in the car, get up, hop on the bus over to the actual terminal, and I'll be good to go. I parked in the economy lot. Anyways, I go the night before. Turns out there's a Sherry's right next to it, so I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just hunker down there for a bit, get a cup of coffee, you know, have some dinner, figure things out. So I hang out there, get some homework done, get some stuff I wanted to get done, and say, okay, it's about 1:30 a.m. I should get to the parking lot, you know, sleep for about an hour, maybe two, before I wake up and get on that bus to get to the terminal. Anyways, I fall asleep, wake up, and it's 5 o'clock. 5 a.m. I have 5 minutes until my flight's about to take off. So I panic, as I always do, and think to myself, okay, what's the best way to get onto this thing? Like, how am I going to get onto this flight? I have 5 minutes to get there. I know the bus takes like 10. What the hell am I going to do? So I do what any smart human would do when they're panicking, is just say screw it and get on the bus anyways. And that was honestly the best decision I could have made. I got there, I talked to the awesome people at Alaska Airlines. They got me another flight because I was flying up to Seattle and then over to Austin. They got me another flight that would get me up to Seattle in time to catch my connecting flight to Austin. I had 10 minutes to get on that flight. And when I initially looked at my boarding passes, I thought, oh, this will be fine. I will just land and go to the next gate. I was landing at gate N11, and my flight was supposed to take off from gate N13. Perfect. Nothing to worry about. Well, it turns out they changed the gate on the flight to the other side of the airport. So I learned this as I get off the plane. I'm like, oh, come on. I didn't think this morning could get any worse. So I just haul it over to the other side of the airport. I get on with like a couple minutes to spare, and I'm just like, yes, I did this. I go. And I passed out on that flight. I was exhausted. I was just so happy to be able to just get there and just be done with that. Ended up getting to Austin, was like, oh, thank God. It's there, finally. Checked into the hotel. I was like, okay, cool. Hey, the Coop, which was Rooster Teeth's pop-up shop for this convention, was still open. Let's go check it out. And this is on my travel day. This is the 4th of July. Go there. Maybe there for all of 5 minutes before I run into Jeremy Dooley of Achievement Hunter. I see it. I'm like, oh crap, that's Jeremy. I immediately get in line and I gotta meet Jeremy Dooley, which was like, I got off the plane, I got to the hotel, I went to this place, and instantly I'm meeting people from Rooster Teeth. This was crazy to me. Anyways, meet him. He's super nice, so just happy to be there. And then I just move on with my life because I'm like, okay, cool. I want to grab some merch like this shirt that I'm wearing. And because I didn't grab enough clothes for the convention, and that was by design, so I would buy a couple of Rooster Teeth shirts. Anyways, I get my stuff. They were giving out free beer to people who were of age, which I am. So I grabbed it, kind of was just hanging out, chatting with people, playing some Halo 2 with a couple guys, because they had that set up. And this guy bumps into me. Now, this is a pretty packed room, so it wasn't really surprising that someone would bump into me. But in almost like a habitual reaction, I turned around to see who it was, and it was Bernie Burns, one of the founders of Rooster Teeth. And I was really hoping that the video behind me would cut to Bernie at that exact moment, but it did not. And I'm going to try to stall for a second to see if nope, not going to do it. Okay, moving on. Anyways, I'm like, oh crap, it's Bernie Burns. Like, this guy's one of my heroes. Let's talk to him. There he is. So I get in line. I'm like the second person in line to talk to Bernie. And I talk with him. I get some advice from him about how to get into the entertainment industry to do what they're doing. Turns out starting your own channel, becoming widely popular is a pretty rare thing to do. And that was just my first day. And that was kind of just like this. It opened my eyes of like, this is what RTX is. I can't wait to see the rest of the week. So as for actual events and panels I did enough stuff where I don't actually remember the names of everything off the top of my head. So we're going to go through, we're going to break things down bit by bit, starting on the 4th of July. So after I ran into Bernie and everyone, I went, had dinner, and did all my stuff, because Achievement Hunter Live was that night. And on a whim, before I bought a ticket, was like, you know what, it's something to do that night. I watch a bunch of Achievement Hunter videos. They're not my favorite, but I love them regardless. They're awesome. Let's go see it. And it was awesome. It was crazy. It was held in Austin City Limits, which is generally a concert venue. And everybody there was just loves these guys and wants to support them. And seeing this, I've never seen so many nerds in one area before. And I'm not saying that as a derogatory comment. I just hadn't. It was amazing, and it kind of opened my eyes again of like, oh my god, there's all these people here, this is going to be amazing. And then I went to the convention center the next day, and it was even bigger, even more. I did a bunch of stuff on the first day, much more actually than I expected to do. The first day was probably my busiest day. So I started the day with the Level Up Finding Your Way into the Video Game Industry. This was done by the guys who are creating Vicious Circle, a game being made by RTX Games. I gotta play it later, it was super great. I was loving this. I was getting some hands-on, like, this is how we got into gaming. This is how we love games. This is how we decided we're going to make games now. And it was actually a lot of really good advice. After that, we had probably what was one of my highlights of the entire trip was me finally getting to meet Kind of Funny. Rather than talk about that here, I'm going to talk about that in the highlights section of this video, because that's got more to it. That's got way more to it than I am for a quick recap. After that, I had some time to kill, hung out with some people, and then went to the What to Expect When You're Expecting to Graduate panel. Now this was awesome because, first off, I've never seen these people on screen before. I've never seen these people in credits. I mean, I probably have, but I don't recognize their names. Who are these people? Well, it turns out one of the main people on this panel was the recruiter for Rooster Teeth, a person who I've gotten many a rejection email from. And it was some great advice. This is what I need to work on, and it kind of inspired me to keep working. And a lot of these panels actually ended up doing that for me. After that, I had no time to kill. I had to immediately leave, left even a little bit early, to go get in line at the Camp panel. I love their naming convention. Camp is one of, if not my favorite show on Rooster Teeth. I have a Camp flag over off camera. Actually, that's not true. My favorite's Ruby. Anyways, this was awesome because the next day I got to see more about the creation of it. Where Camp panel was much more of just a celebration of Camp and the fans loving how much they love this series. And this was probably the biggest panel that I went to, and it was hilarious. Miles and most of the people on the panel came out running around the room singing the Camp theme song, and it was high energy, like I keep saying, and fun and happy. I was kind of dumbfounded by this whole thing. I met some awesome people in line at the what to expect when you're expecting to graduate panel. Talked with them for a while, and it was like, oh, we're going to the camp thing. Hung out with them. Kind of through just talking about camp and talking about Miles and Michael and all the people that did voices and animation and all that, kind of became friends with these people. We all ended up getting dinner together and kind of just chatting and making this awesome friendship through this what many people would consider a dumb little internet animated series. It was awesome. So before we ended up getting dinner, though, I got the chance to go to the werewolves panel, and then this was hilarious. It was a bunch of Rooster Teeth, Achievement Hunter Funhouse people playing werewolves, one of my favorite games. It was just dumb and fun, and honestly, that's really all I have to say about it. It was just dumb and fun. So the next day, I got to go to the 2D animation panel, and this is another highlight of my trip, and I'm going to talk about them more later. But the big thing about this was I got to discover a lot about Rooster Teeth's pipeline for 2D animation, and it was really interesting and really fun. After that, I got to finally go to the Kind of Funny panel. Kind of Funny, we need your sub more than Funhouse. It was awesome. It was crazy. It was high energy. It was everything I wanted out of the Kind of Funny panel. This is what I've been waiting for these 8 years of me listening to Kind of Funny. I started listening to Kind of Funny back in 2012 when Greg still did Podcast Beyond. For anybody who's watched Kind of Funny content, this was back in the Ryan Clements days of Podcast Beyond, the tail end of that. I've been watching these guys forever, so finally getting to go to a crazy, high energy, absolutely hilarious panel. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. And of course, just a reminder, Kind of Funny does need your sub more than Funhouse. But you know who else needs your sub? I do. Please give me your sub. Please. I really need it. Please sub to my channel. After that, I had a little bit of time to kill, so I walked around and tried to find the next panel. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to the free play panel, but that line was across the convention center. I was not about to be able to get into that panel. So what I ended up getting into was the writing and directing for RT animation panel. And this was great because it kind of taught me kind of how to help build out a story for this animated short that I've been working on. And while it may not have been the greatest advice for long term, for me at least, because I want to do more animation rather than writing and directing, it was definitely great for the specific project that I'm working on that I'm kinda not going to talk about more because I don't want to jinx anything. Because last time I talked about a big project, it didn't happen. It's like the last few times I talked about a big project, it didn't happen. Anyways, after that, I got to go to the Ex-Interns of Rooster Teeth, How Not to Fuck Up Your Future panel. This one was great. Again, more advice from bigger names. And this was actually a panel that really surprised me. We were put in one of the bigger rooms of what RTX had to offer, and we didn't even fill half the room. We filled maybe a quarter of it. So it was great. It was almost intimate. Almost everyone got to ask questions. Well, not everyone, but almost everyone who had a question got to ask a question. And we were given some really good answers. Answers that, frankly, are going to really help me. I'm not at the point yet of getting an internship, but I took notes for when I hopefully do. I want to get into this, so figured I need all the help I can get. So I rounded out the day there as far as convention is concerned, and then there was Sunday. So Sunday I was only able to go to one convention or one panel, only one of the morning panels, because my flight took off at 2. And so which means I needed to leave the hotel around noon because I did not want to jinx anything after my flight down. So I ended up at the Achievement Hunter BTS. No, we're not the Korean boy band panel. And this was great because it was pretty much a group of hungover editors just BS and having fun and half giving advice, half airing grievances with each other, and half just telling jokes. It was hilarious, educational, everything I wanted a panel to be. And honestly, it was a great way to wrap up my panels for RTX. So as far as highlights are concerned, there's really 3. Meeting Kinda Funny, the 2D animation panel, and getting to hang out with the community. So Meeting Kinda Funny was something that I've wanted to do for a really long time. Like I said, I started listening to at least Greg in 2012. It's now 2019. I made him feel very old by telling him that, because I am only 21. I started listening to Greg Miller when I was in 8th grade. If you have listened to any of Kinda Funny, you know that was a mistake. I was an impressionable young teenager, and I listened to Greg. Mistake. But not really a mistake. It actually made me a lot of who I am today, and it's helped me a lot with who I've become. So me and these guys get to finally say, this is who I am, and just give them a hug, which it seems like something so small, but it was something I wanted to do forever. It was amazing. But as great as meeting them was, I had just as much fun in the line. So my downside to the Kinda Funny signing, which is where I got to meet them, was that it was at the same time as that Getting Into the Game Industry panel. So what I ended up doing is going to the Getting Into the Game Industry panel. That ended half an hour before the Kinda Funny signing ended. So I beat cheeks down there, got in line, and was at the very back of the line with a couple of best friends. And we were talking and having a good time. I got to meet these guys. I ended up going out for drinks with them later. It was awesome. And it really kind of reopened my eyes to what the Kinda Funny best friend mantra really is. And honestly, that needs to be its own separate video, just how great the Kinda Funny community is and the mantra that we've set for ourselves. But the point of it is that these people were awesome, these people were amazing, and they really set the tone for me about what RTX is. It's about the content. It's about the people who make things and getting to meet them and celebrate the content and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's really about the community and these people that all come together around these common interests. So that aside, meeting Kinda Funny was amazing. Greg, I can say without a doubt that I would not be here today without Greg Miller. Just the long and short of it is that I finally got to meet him. They knew who I was based off my screen name, and I will never forget that moment. I want to go to more so I can talk more of these, so I can talk to the community. Absolutely. I also want to talk to them more and get to know them more. It's very much that thing that they explain. It's like, you hear them in their podcast every week. If you watch their podcast every week, you know just as much about them as probably some of their friends do, if not more. So I finally got to interact with them in person, and I really expected to be starstruck. But when I got there, it all kind of just faded away, and it felt like I was talking to my best friends. So to take a turn a little bit, there's the 2D animation panel, which was totally different because it was very much about me wanting to educate myself and wanting to learn more about animation. So I got to talk to an animator on Camp. She's now a director. See if I can get her name, actually. All right, so I got to talk to Isa Badiola. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that last name wrong. And it was great. She gave me some awesome advice on animation and rigging and the tips they use, tutorials that could help me out, and what I need to do to get into the industry, what the standards were, some advice on portfolio stuff. It was really helpful, and it wasn't an interaction I thought I was going to get, and I think that's why it's such a highlight for me. I accidentally went to every single one of Issa's panels. This was not by design. I didn't mean to go to half of them. So I got to talk to her after a couple of the panels, and be like, what do I need to do? Because I want to be in this industry so damn bad. I just need to learn the trade, and I'm working on that right now. So meeting her, meeting some of the other animators, even sitting next to a couple of animators and kind of just chatting their ear off and talking with them, it was all great for me to learn how to do what I want to do. So there's no better way to wrap up this video than talking about the community and talking about how bloody awesome they were. So I mentioned the line. What I didn't mention yet is that every single night I ended up hanging out with Kind of Funny community members. And even other nights I got to hang out with Rooster Teeth community members. The hotel I was staying at was it's a convention center, and it teamed up with Rooster Teeth. So it was primarily Rooster Teeth fans there. So I got to talk to fans wherever I went, whether it was the convention center, whether I was going out for food, whether I was just hanging out at the hotel bar. I was always talking to RT fans, and it was great because I could strike up a conversation with anybody. So I got to meet some Achievement Hunter fans, some Rooster Teeth fans, some Cow Chop fans, people who I've never watched before, and they got to tell me why they loved Cow Chop. I got to talk with Austin locals, figure out more about Austin, got to learn about this really cool city. I got to talk with other Kind of Funny fans, find out when they got into Kind of Funny, realize, oh, wait a second, we've been talking to each other for the last 3-4 years, and we just never met each other in person. It was absolutely amazing. I got to meet awesome people. I got to talk shop with people. I got to embrace this awesome community for what it is. And we were closing out bars every night, not even necessarily getting drunk, but just talking, having a good time. We didn't want things to end. And I think that's what's so special about Rooster Teeth, and RTX especially. Like I said, it's a community event, and that didn't really click with me until I got there. So of course, with me being there, thank you so much to Rooster Teeth in general for putting on this con. I'm saying all these things like they sent me out or something. No, I paid my own ticket. I did all that. I'm just lucky to be able to pay for that. And I was lucky to be able to go, and lucky that Rooster Teeth throws this, and especially lucky for all of the Guardians who volunteered their time and energy into the event. I'm especially grateful for the Kind of Funny best friends who just instantly started talking with me, and we just kind of rolled right into it. It was, I can genuinely say without a doubt that weekend was a weekend I would always remember. It was genuinely one of the best weekends of my life. So yeah, that's all I've got on RTX. I think I talked about just about everything there. If you have any other questions at all whatsoever, feel free to tweet them at me. You can tweet at me personally at GriffyDPad, that's GRIFFIDPAD, or you can tweet at Just Another World, that's JUSTNOTHERWORLD. Yeah, the one with the A was taken. If you don't have Twitter, feel free to go ahead and comment on the video if you have a question. I'm happy to answer questions on any video. While you're around, it would also mean a lot to me if you like the video, or maybe even subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of awesome content on this channel, and it's something that personally I'm proud of, and all of us that make content are proud of, especially the Griffin Soapbox videos. There's only one up right now, and trust me, a lot of them have been made and scrapped, but another one's hopefully coming out soon. It turns out motion graphics take a long time to build. Who would have thunk it? And balancing them with work, school, and oh yeah, going to a convention away from my computer for 4 days. Yeah, that will take some time. So that's all I've got for you. So thank you everybody for watching, and until next time, keep on keeping on. Bye.